The promise of home ownership in Canada is broken. 8 years ago, if you worked hard and you saved money, you could buy a home here. Now, the majority of Canadians are concerned about housing. They're worried that we're not going to be able to buy a home. We're worried that our children are not going to be able to buy homes in this country. What has happened and how did we get here? Today, we're going to talk about the housing market, how we actually got to the state we're in, what happened in 2023, and more importantly, what is predicted to happen in 2024 going forward. Hi there, my name is Marcy Verberg. I'm a realtor here in Toronto. I like to talk about economics and policy, and I like to keep on top of what's going on with the housing market. So if you want to know more about what's going to happen this year, stay tuned. But first, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So recently, there was a very large survey done by Ipsos Reid. You may have heard of them before. Now, this information is not coming from me. It's coming from Ipsos. They're one of the biggest researchers in the world. It's also coming from the Toronto Real Estate Board. So I'm not just making this stuff up. What we have actually seen is very concerning. One of the things that has happened is that housing is now concerning Canadians more than healthcare. Right now, we're at a point where housing is set to exceed healthcare as our number one concern. This has never been the case in Canada. We have always had healthcare as our number one concern. So what is happening? We're going to talk about that today. Have been in a housing crisis this year, and are we going to stay in this crisis, or are things going to get better? More importantly, are interest rates going to get better, and are houses going to get any less expensive? Okay, let's talk about this. Now, we know that inflation suddenly just went down this month, which is really great news. However, we've been suffering really badly from inflation for the past couple of years, as you all know, due to COVID. You may not know that government is one of the main contributors to inflation, housing inflation, and shelter inflation in this country. I talked about that in my last video, how of the 3.5% inflation, about half of that is attributable to government. Now, about 71% of people believe that there's a housing crisis within their own community. And they're also believing that buying a house might be only for the rich, which is really crazy because in this country, generally there's a promise there that you can buy a home and have a place to live. What we're seeing is that this housing crisis is spilling over to public policy. And that would be similar to the recent announcement where we're limiting the amount of foreign students coming into the country to try to free up some rental housing. Many people believe that we should be slowing down immigration. We have some charts that show here different groups of people and whether they're thinking that we should slow down immigration. I think people are concerned that we're bringing in so many we're welcoming so many new people to the country, which is awesome. However, if you talk to these new people, they're concerned too because they need a place to live. And when they come to Canada, they're expecting to be able to find housing. So what other things happened this year? So we had a higher amount of immigration. We've had high inflation, and as you all know, we've had really big interest rate increases. Now, if you take a look at this chart, what's really important to notice is the pace of these interest rate increases. We have not seen them go up this quickly since 1987. Now, in 1987, the interest rates may have not have gotten so high, but the pace at which the government has implemented these rates has been very fast and very significant, and really scared people. If we look back to 2022, you'll see that the top, this is the second line in the chart. We've got 2022. Another thing that happened is in 2018, we introduced the housing stress test. And what that means is that people need to qualify for a mortgage at a rate that's 2% higher than they're actually going to pay. So say, for example, right now you're wanting to get an interest rate of about 6.25%. The bank, if you go to one of the big top fives and use a stress test, means that you're going to have to qualify at 8.25%. So that's a significantly different amount of money. Taxes are also contributing to the housing crisis. We have a double land transfer tax here in Toronto, and we also have development fees and taxes on new condo development. So if you look at those, about $200,000 of each condo is actually attributable to development fees and taxes. And of course, we had pandemic purchasing, a couple of years ago, way more people went out into the market and bought homes than we were expecting them to, and really increased the demand. So the question is this going to get any better? What we need to see happen is we need to see obviously an increase in supply of housing, and we need to see a decrease in the interest rate. Now, the experts are expecting that we're going to be having an interest rate decrease starting in April this year and perhaps in June. They were expecting it to be in January at first, but the inflation was too high, so the Bank of Canada held rates. However, people are expecting to see these rates start to come down in April and June, and then we will have the biggest drop to about minus 125 basis points, which will be in March of 2025. Now, keep in mind, this is kind of like the stock market. Analysts do everything they can to predict these things, but it's not 100% perfect. So you can't rely on it. You have to kind of think of it more like buying a stock. Do you have enough information to make a right decision? Now, what's going to happen with people is we have a lot more people that are saying they're going to be likely to buy or very likely to buy a home in 2024. So 28% of people are saying they're likely to buy a home in 2024, and 9% are saying that they're very likely to purchase a home. On top of that, about half of renters are planning to stay put where they are. However, half of them are planning to move. What will actually get the renters to start to move out of their rental houses and purchase a property is they're saying about an increase in rent of about $429. So basically what that means is if the rental prices keep going up, then some of those people will be moving over to purchasing a home. Right now, we have a lot of people who could afford to purchase a home sitting on the sidelines in rental properties, which is actually taking up a lot of the rental housing stock. So we would like to see, people that can afford to buy a home to move over into purchasing a home. Now, in 2023, I'm just going to review a little bit so you can see the difference to 2024. 2023 as a whole year, housing sales dropped about 12%. We also saw that new listings were down about 8.6%. We had about 142,000 new listings, and this is the GTA area. The average price was down over the year about 5.5% to $1.126 million. Now, condo prices dropped significantly, and condos are where we're seeing the impact on the overall market because they're the biggest contributor to the change in the housing prices. However, but looking forward to 2024, we're expecting a couple of things to happen. Right now, we've seen the bond yields drop. What that basically means is the bond yields are attached to fixed rate mortgages. The bond yields have dropped about 1 percentage point. So they're thinking that the the mortgages that are fixed rates are going to come down. The variable rate mortgage will be coming down, as we just talked about a few minutes ago, probably starting in April. What the great thing about that is if you combine this with the fact that most people who are going to buy a home are going to put 32% down on average, the average amount you have to pay on a month-to-month basis is going down $500 a month in payments, so making it a little bit more affordable for people. So that's great. Now, the people that are planning on moving are going to be doing a couple of things. They're going to be upsizing. So there are a number of people who want to upsize their home. They have a bigger family. They want to move from a condo to a house. They want to move from a semi to a detached, that kind of thing. Also, about half of the immigrant population is planning to buy a home, and they actually plan to buy a home a lot quicker than a lot of the other survey respondents. So that's good news. And the immigrants, the people new to Canada, are actually spending about $100,000 more on a home than some of the other people. So we are going to see a demand increasing in 2024. However, we're going to be seeing about the same amount of supply. And so what does the Toronto Real Estate Board think is going to happen to the market in 2024? Well, they think that we're going to see about 77,000 new home sales versus 63,000 in 2023. They think we're going to see about 150,000 new listings, which is, pretty flat versus last year. They're expecting us to see about a 4% price increase in 2024, which is going to bring the average home in Toronto to about $1.17 million. We're also expecting those interest rate decreases to come through this year and next year. So this year, what can you expect to see? You can expect to see an increase in demand for housing. You can expect to see the supply remain kind of similar to what it's been over the last couple of years. You can expect to see people upsizing and new homeowners coming into the market to buy homes. So, if you're thinking about buying or selling, kind of what should you do? Okay, buyers, get in the market soon before the prices start to go up anymore. Upsizers, get in the market soon because you're going to take advantage of the prices being a little bit lower like this month and next month, and then probably increasing kind of as we go throughout the summer. If you're going to sell your home, there's definitely demand out there for your home. And you can do that this spring or plan for next fall. So those are two really good windows. If you have any questions or just want to ask about real estate or just want to chat about this, I would love to hear from you. My contact information is below. Again, my name is Marcy, and thank you so much for watching this video.